Welcome to the lesson on work orders. I am currently at the Job Master Pro main menu, and I'm going to click into the Job Center by clicking the Jobs button. Now before I can do a work order, I need to find a job, so I have a job number that I know, so I'm just going to enter it and bring up that job. Now, work orders can be set up for a job at the time the job is actually being entered in the program. So you can review the lesson on job setup to find out more about that. Specifically, T&M job setup. Because any work orders that have been previously set up for a job will appear in the Work Orders tab on the Job Center. From here, I can double click on any work order to open up the Work Orders window, set up a new work order, do whatever I want. But I'm going to exit out of the work orders window for a moment, because if we don't have a work order on file here for this job, we can click on the work order button on the toolbar to access the work orders window. Now, in the work orders window, this is where I can print any work order at any time, reprint it, do whatever I want, but I can also set up a new work order for this job by clicking the New button on the toolbar. When I do that, it brings over the job and its directions, because I have that saved with the customer, and I've told Cobra to automatically bring directions out onto any work order. So before we do anything else, what I'm going to do is click into the Defaults button on the toolbar, talk about some of the defaults that can be preset for your work orders. As I click in there, the Cobra Defaults window comes open, and the Work Orders tab is open because that's where I access the Cobra Defaults from. I have pre-set up a logo in my system, so I'm going to have it print the logo. That's why I have a check mark here. I can include directions automatically on the work order. Instead of having to go find them and cut and paste or put them in history notes, I can have them automatically included on the work order by putting a check mark here. If I want to print a work order on plain paper rather than using our forms, you can do that. That's a very popular option. And print date on work order. This is also a very popular option. So as you begin working with work orders, you may want to turn on or off some of these different variables, especially for your own particular station, if you use work orders differently than, say, somebody else that might handle the service area, whatever. So these defaults are set by station. So make sure everybody who deals with work orders has access to this and can set their own work order defaults. And don't forget to save your defaults by clicking the Save button so that they're permanently saved in there. I'm going to exit the Cobra Defaults back to the Work Orders window. As I'm working in here, I can also come into the Work Order Detail window and type whatever I want. So after the information that's displayed for me from the job and the directions, I can come in here and start typing anything I want to. Maybe I want this tech who's going to be serving this customer to stop by the supplier and pick up the lamps, or whatever. Any kind of directions, kind of a communication between you and your techs out in the field. I can also import information from several different sources. So if I have a lot of history notes on file for this customer, I can click on the History button to import customer history notes onto this work order. So if I want my guys to be aware of different things that have happened in the past so that they can service this customer more efficiently, I can draw information from history notes. I do that in the History Notes window by double-clicking on a keyword, and then I can access all the detail for that keyword, highlighting any of the detail lines, and then going up to the top right of the Customer History Notes window and clicking on Copy Notes to Work Order. And as you'll see, when I do that, you can see kind of behind this window that there's my history notes that I just selected. So if I want my worker, my tech, whoever's going to be servicing this account to be aware of problems out there, then you can access that information, selecting exactly the lines that you want for your work order, and then clicking Copy Notes to Work Order. And continue doing this until you're done with history notes, and then exit the history notes screen. That's pretty cool. Now you can also do some other things. If this is, say, a residential job that you're going to be doing and there was a proposal done on it, you can actually access the proposal detail by clicking on the proposal button and loading all the proposals just by putting a check mark here under load all proposals and double clicking on the one that you want to bring over here. So if I do that, if I double click on this particular proposal, what it did for me was automatically bring out the whole material list that came over from the proposal right onto the work order. So that's a really cool way of letting your guys in the field know that when they go out and service this customer, these are the items that you expect them to use and their quantities. You can also access change orders and import change order information, very similar fashion as I just did with the proposal detail. Job notes can be imported too on this button. All sorts of nice options in here that go far above and beyond just the normal work order setup. So I can save this new work order, or as I exit the screen, it will automatically save it for me anyway. So I'm going to exit the work order window, and then for this job, if I go back into the work orders tab on the Job Center screen, there's my new work order. I can double click on it and get access right to it, reprint it, modify it, add to it, whatever I want to. So I'm going to exit out of the work order screen, and that ends the lesson on work orders.